Hello and welcome everyone to the Cross Cultural Couples Podcast. My name is Erica El Halali,
And I'm Hamada Al Hilali.
and today we're going to be talking about 7 tips to keep things fun and fresh in your relationship. And this is something that, especially it's summer, we wanted to do something kind of fun, but it's also something that I think, especially anybody who's been in a long term relationship, will realize it's actually, it takes a little bit of effort and some work to keep things fun, and just to keep the relationship enjoyable. And this really can go for people whether they're in a cross cultural couple or they're in a relationship where they're the exact same couple, like the exact same culture. So this is definitely one that's probably applicable to any relationship, but I still think it's really important for people in cross cultural relationships to also remember these things.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's also really interesting when you think about it. Like most people in a cross cultural relationship, that initial meeting is so engaging. It's so fun. It's so fresh. Like you're learning about a new person, but also like an entirely different culture. And you get so engaged by that. Like that is very stimulating to your curiosity, your sense of adventure. You get to try new foods, maybe go to new places. You get to really explore and understand things, and that can be really really fun.
Okay.
So like I know when I first lived in Morocco, I lived in Morocco before I met Hamada. I studied abroad there and met him there, but like even just being in his family, like I feel like that just took my understanding of Morocco to the next level. Like once you're in a family with a culture, like you really get embedded in the culture in such a deep way. And so for me it was like so fun to learn about the different practices, even to like go to a Moroccan wedding is so different than an American wedding, and that can be really fun. But then as time goes on, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really easy for people when they're busy in their careers, they're busy with all the household chores, with all the parenting demands. Once you have kids, there's a lot of demands on your time, and it can be really easy just to get in that routine and then forget to have fun.
Yeah. It really matter to make sure always like go for a walk, go to the park, go to the beach. Do things that helps makes things like happier and more fun. Just staying at home watching TV or like looking at your phone, you're really not helping anybody. I mean, you can. You just sometimes you have to like really go out and do things.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna talk about 7 tips to try to keep things fun in the relationship. And I think this first tip, I'm gonna have you say the first tip.
The first tip is maybe travel and adventures.
Yeah, so it doesn't. You don't necessarily have to like fly across the world. Especially we're
Yeah.
still in this pandemic. It may not be feasible to just pick everything up and go see the Great Wall of China or whatever. Which, by the way, I've seen and it is beautiful. So put it on your bucket list if you haven't done it.
Yeah, even going
Um,
for a walk, like even going for like a newer city, just driving for like half hour, it's an
yeah,
adventure.
yeah, like even just exploring your own city. Like I know that's something we've done during the pandemic a lot. We moved to Southern California in 2019, so right before the pandemic. So it's actually really a great experience for us because during the pandemic, it's hard. We're away from Minnesota, where my family is, where his brother and sister are, and and then obviously most of his family is in Morocco. So we having that separation was really hard, especially during the pandemic. But what kind of got us through is we would go on these little adventures. Like we'd just like get in the car and like go on a hike
Things.
somewhere, or we'd go to find a new beach. We'd find a new park. We would like do picnics even, and that was really nice because especially being in the house all the time, it was just nice to like even go sit on a blanket in a park under a tree and just have a picnic.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that can be really fun, and it also gets you out there trying new things. So, like for example, if you're not a big into hiking, maybe try that. If there's an activity you've always been curious about but you've never tried, so maybe you've always wanted to try kayaking.
Yeah.
Go try it together. Like that stuff can be really fun.
Yeah. The first like step is when you want to go do something. The hardest step is the first step when you decide. As when you decide and you're on your way, then everything starts to become more fun, and you're like, oh wow, I'm glad we did this. So the harder part is to like make the decision and do it.
Yeah, and I think like to your point, I think like when we think about bigger decisions, so like we really wanted to go to Australia a few years ago. It was almost easier to make a decision like that because like you have to commit to it. So you make the decision, then you start planning it, you figure out, okay, we're going to fly into Sydney, we're going to go to the Blue Mountains, like you start figuring it out and committing to it. So some of those bigger travel trips, it's in some ways easier because it's like such a commitment. You make it and then you're
Yeah.
like committed and you do it. But it's really easy when, especially if it's just like around your town, it's so easy to just say, oh, I'll do that a month from now. And then, oh, no, I'll do it for 6 months from now. And like you never get around to it.
Yeah.
So I think that,
There's never a good time for anything. You just have to make the time and do it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and it does help if you plan stuff out. But honestly, some of our best, like most fun days have been we randomly would get in the car and we'd say, like, let's try this place. And like adding some spontaneity has actually been really fun too. So it's not just so like planned to the
That's
T.
yeah.
So that can be fun for you too. Like even just say we're gonna have some kind of adventure today, and then just pack a picnic and randomly find a park somewhere and have a picnic. I mean, there can
Exactly.
be all kinds of fun things you do that aren't super detailed and structured and everything.
Very true.
I also think one of the fun things about travel, though, that is probably unique for all of us cross cultural couples, is there's just something really magical about travel. Like, I mean, and if you're in a cross cultural relationship, most likely at least one of you has had to travel somewhere at some
Yeah.
point. So, like, you probably do have a little bit of the travel bug. But there is something so wonderful about going to a brand new place and really just exploring and being in that fun zone of just pure curiosity. Like, oh, let's just see what this place is like. Let's fill out this vibe.
Yeah, and that helps you like understand that it's not just all about you. There's other people that live in other countries and they see things differently, and it's just your way or no way. It helps you understand other people, other culture, others, and see things from different perspective. So I think,
Yeah, and it's fun. It's really fun for us to travel together because, like, when you're experiencing a new place, like obviously I'm American and you're Moroccan, Hamada, but like even when we went to like Australia, like we're neither one of us are Australian. We've never had any family there or anything, but like going on that trip was really fun because it was like a brand new place for both of us.
yeah,
So that was really cool. Like I know we've done other trips, like we went to Denmark and I'm Danish, so like that trip was like really special to me. But like you still had fun doing it. Like we were able to like go and like we would we just had fun and we could see like, oh, we really like this or we don't really like that, or maybe I really like something but you didn't.
hmm,
It's really fun to be able to have those conversations and get that curiosity and that really just fun sense of adventure going. So
yeah,
that's really our first tip, is really embrace adventures, whether it's traveling formally or just informally exploring the areas around where you live immediately.
yeah,
That can really help. And I actually felt like for me, especially with all the anxiety during the pandemic, being in that vibe of like adventure was so like liberating. Like it just
that's
was like,
true.
I don't have to worry about the news. I don't have to worry about anything else right now. I'm just gonna go and be out in nature or like be looking and exploring someplace new.
Yeah,
So the next tip.
is try new things together.
So like this can be really fun, especially if you even like if you're super busy, like if you're working, both of you are working full time and you have kids and you're doing all the things that are part of the busy life. I think a lot of us have slowed down more since the pandemic, which I think is very needed. But then I think now people are starting to creep back into those old, like busy, go schedules again.
Hmm.
But it may be really helpful for you to even incorporate new things into the schedule. So if you always have tacos on Tuesday or whatever for your normal meal planning.
Yeah.
Maybe that night you say, "Okay, we're going to try to make a brand new recipe together. Like we're going to make our own homemade salsa or something." And that can be really fun to do because like you can be a little bit creative, you can try something new. It's not just the same routine thing. And it can be a fun family activity too. So like you can all, help out. I mean, Sammy, he's only 3 years old, our son, but he still will like if I'm like in the kitchen, he'll want to like pull up a chair and like see what I'm doing. I mean, obviously we don't let him like chop vegetables or anything. He doesn't have knife skills yet. But like he's still like if I have chopped everything up, like I'll have him like put some of put it together, mix up vegetables or whatever. Like he can. You want to be safe, obviously, but you can still incorporate like kids and include them in the activities because I think kids really like being part of that, and for them it's fun for them to learn new things too.
It is, yeah. Like going back to the chip, it's yeah, try new things. Don't be afraid. Just go ahead and do it. Let's go walk in the beach or walk under the bridge in that beach. There's a lot of things. Or let's have a picnic in the beach under the bridge or something like that. Just do it. Just don't harm anybody and just mind your own business and try new things.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, even like learning a new skill, learning anything together, I think can be really fun.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's nice even if like one of you really knows a skill really well. You can even teach the other person. So maybe one of you knows how to make bread really well. Well, teach your partner how to make bread. Like it might be good for both of you to know how to do that.
yeah,
And we live at an amazing time with YouTube and all the access to information on the internet. If you really want to learn how to make anything, like whether it's food and like arts, crafts, anything, like there's a video tutorial out there somewhere. So it's a fun time where you can really learn and develop any kind of new skill you want to learn.
yeah. You can learn things quick. Honestly, I mean, before you can ask somebody, he's gonna give you one answer. Now you can ask the internet, and it gives you like billions answers. Million answers. So there's a lot of broad information that you can learn and take what works for you and leave what doesn't.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people like because there's so much information. This was actually something I learned recently, but the average human alive today is exposed to more information in one day than a human who lived 100 years ago got exposed to in their entire life.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, it's pretty amazing, and it's also really interesting to think about. I think sometimes because we have so much information, we get paralyzed by it. Like, we don't know how to make a decision. We're like, well, there's so many things I'm interested in. And then you're like, well, I'll just go turn Netflix on and
Yeah,
stream my favorite show because that's just an easy thing I don't have to think about.
yeah. But that's actually not a bad thing. I mean, sometimes you really just need to like sit and do nothing.
You do.
Because like honestly, for me, sometimes today I did nothing. I just sit at home and just watched my phone and did basically nothing. And I liked it because I've been really busy for the last 6 months.
I will say you did like laundry, like he put our sheets in and cleaned those and he vacuumed our bedroom. Like he didn't
Yeah,
do
but still,
absolutely nothing, but like you did very minimal for sure. And you had some time to just relax for sure.
yeah,
So, yeah, and I just think that you need those relaxation times, but like if you're using that to escape from like trying anything new, that's where you want to err on the side of trying something new. Because sometimes if you relax too much, you can get in a state where you're like it's almost like a form of depression where you get like just you have no energy, you're just lethargic, and it's like sometimes if you try something new, it'll
Yeah, you got.
give
I
you more
mean, sitting
energy.
doing that. It's not like you like doing work or like doing something crazy. Just doing like the normal stuff. But you don't want to just sit there and not do nothing. Just wrap your hands and just not do anything. That's like you said. It's kind of a
It's a
form.
balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. So
Yeah. Well, and I think if you're trying really trying hard to say like, okay, what should we try new? Maybe one of you wants to do something and the other one really wants to do something else. Well, maybe this weekend you try this thing and then 2 weeks from now you try the other thing. Like it's good if you guys both have something new and you want to try it.
yeah,
So I think that it's really good to for both of you to maybe bring new things where you say, I've always wanted to try to make this. Let's try to make this together. Or I've always wanted to try to create like a painting. Like I always wanted to paint something.
yeah.
Well then, go get some art supplies and do it together. See if you like doing it.
Exactly. You're right.
So, and those can be really fun things, and they really just break up the monotony of the routineness. And so that's really the whole point of this is to just kind of get you out of your shell
Do
and
things.
yeah, and it's fun to try new things.
True.
So the next one is, or the next tip number 3 is you want to follow your own passions and then share them together. So this is kind of in line with that, but certainly like there may be things that you yourself are really passionate about. If you can teach your partner that or do it together, so maybe you really love dancing but your partner doesn't, maybe your partner can try it. Like even if you just
Yeah.
do dancing at home, it's not in front of anybody if they're shy or whatever. Like that can be a really fun activity. Just and it doesn't be a long time. Just spend 10 minutes dancing together, and then you've tried something new and gotten yourself out of the shell.
Yeah, so basically, like, do things. Like, just keep doing things. I know some people like to relax, but it's like you really have to get up and do things. You really have to go to, even going for a walk by your house is a thing. Even like going playing volleyball, doing whatever, anything you can do is going to help you, is going to help your relationship.
Well, and then I have had somebody ask me in a coaching session, actually, they were like, well, I don't really know what my passions are. And I do think this can happen, especially if you've been so in a rut, you've been in your routine, you're just doing, you're making sure all the chores are done, you're making sure you're at your job, doing your job. You come home, you take care of your kids, and then sometimes at the time everything gets done, it's like bedtime.
Yeah,
And so I do think that it may be good for you to take some time and even remember like what is something you really enjoyed when you were a kid, because kids are, I mean, if you any kid who's like under the age of 7, naturally they're just so like full of like joy and fun and excitement about life. I mean, the littlest things Sammy will get so excited about, like you can wave to him from the balcony and he like thinks it's so cool, like just
yeah,
little things like me like give them like so much joy, and we tend to lose that somewhere along the way. So go back to when you were a kid and think about like maybe it was playing soccer really brought you joy, or maybe you really enjoyed when you could help your mom bake cookies in the kitchen.
yeah.
So whatever it is, like figure out what those things are and then try to bring those into your life, because that can also be really fun traditions to share with your kids. So maybe when you were a kid, your family did something really fun together. Well, do that fun with your kids now. That can be something you guys do fun together.
It's true.
So, the next one is, this one is tip number 4.
This one is do something out of your comfort zone.
So there may be something that you're not necessarily like, it's not necessarily something fun for you, or maybe you even have a fear around it. Maybe challenge yourself a little to get out of your comfort zone. So maybe you are petrified of like dancing in front of other people. Well, maybe take a dance class with your partner, or maybe you are super afraid of heights. go on a nice hike and look at something, high up on a mountain or something like that. Or like, even like we went to Seattle one time and we went to the top of this building and you could see everything. And I have a really strong fear of volcanoes. It's super weird. But like I could see Mount Rainier and it scared me. But I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, we'll do it. And it's like sometimes confronting those fears are like really really helpful and expansive, and they can kind of help your relationship. Like your partner can like comfort you and be like, it's okay,
Yeah.
like the volcano's not gonna erupt or whatever, and like comfort you through
Yeah, I remember those days.
it. I feel like I probably have more fears than you do. Like I have like just
Yeah.
random phobias.
That's okay
But
though.
the next one is tip number 5. It's move to a new city. So a lot of people are talking about moving, especially I think the pandemic has made people realize like you don't have to be in a city just because of a job. Like there's so many remote options now. And I think also people are really starting to realize like how short life is. So for us, moving to California was so helpful to our relationship. We have really enjoyed being here. We love the weather, the climate, the mountains, the beach. We love all of it. And so, like, for us, this has been really a fun place for us to explore. So, if there's like a place where you guys have always wanted to live,
Just do it.
just do it. Like it's hard at first. Like you do have to like let go of a lot of your things and a lot of your comfort and your security, but taking that leap together can be really helpful and really strengthen your relationship because you'll be able to like learn together. You can explore a new city together. It also allows you to like let go of any um, like attachments you have, or like if you have like friendships that maybe you're spending all your time with a certain friend or whatever.
Yeah.
It gives you a kind of almost like a fresh start in your relationship in a lot of ways. And for us, it's only strengthened our relationship, and it's definitely been a great move for us. And we moved right before the pandemic started, and and we were able to do it just fine and survive. So
Yeah. But
even if you're scared of like being away from your family or whatever, we live in a time where with technology you can talk to your family as often as you want, and really you can live wherever you want. There's no there. It's not like the like when my ancestors came over to America from Ireland
yeah.
and Denmark. Like they literally left their homes and never saw their families again. That will not happen. Like that's not the case. So just go and take the leap and do it.
That's true. Yeah, just because there's nothing really to fear about. Just the way you live in your old city. Just come on to the new city and just try to live the best of it.
Yeah.
So
And if you don't like it, you move to the new city and you both
yeah,
decide you don't like it, you can always move back. There's nothing stopping you from moving back either.
exactly.
So the sixth one, I'm gonna have Hamada read it,
Yeah, find joy.
and fun moments throughout the day. So this one is really important. A lot of times we feel like we have to go on a fun date or we have to have date night, which is really important and does help build your relationship. But a lot of times if you just find joy and like little fun moments throughout the day, that can actually have a huge impact on your overall energy level, and then that energy level transfers into how you connect and bring
With
that
the
connect together in the relationship. So maybe I know we've started doing this more often, but Hamada is a musician. So he's created a lot of amazing hip hop and rap songs that are really fun to dance to. So a lot of times, like we'll just like put the music on and we all start dancing. And Sammy is like a fantastic dancer. Like he just gets up and just starts shaking. And he was last time he was we turned a song on and it was so funny. Like we just turn it on, he immediately like jumps up and he starts waving his hands around, like raising the roof dance moves. Like they just came out of him. It was so cute. And he like
It's
shakes his
so
little
funny.
butt. He's so cute. So I mean, I feel like kids are so good at having fun. Like that's just naturally innate in children. But bring that into your relationship too. Like if your kids are getting up and dancing, get up and dance with them. Like that's really fun. And a lot of times we try to like contain that childlike energy, but it's like no, embrace it. Like it's a really fun energy, and it's really fun for the whole family to get in and share those moments. It can also even just be as simple as like maybe you like had a really funny situation happen, and you like, or like you heard a funny joke or something. Like even just sharing like funny like humor can be really a great way to introduce little fun moments
Yeah.
throughout the day.
Even like when the story is not really fun, just say it, because your partner may be interested in it and maybe not, but it's bring up something in the situation. It brings up something to talk about. It brings up a new subject to talk about. Like sometimes I just come up with a scenario that happened to me, and I find it just fine, but Erica finds it really funny, or like I find it sometimes it's crazy, but Erica think, oh, it's normal. So it's like,
Yeah, well, and I think like a lot of times too, with different cultures have kind of different types of humor, but a lot of times you just appreciate the effort. Like, oh, he's trying to tell me something funny. Like, this is good. Like, I appreciate that a lot more than somebody who's just like complaining or like nagging. Like, that's not a good energy. So, like, having that energy of like, oh, let me tell you this funny thing that happened, or I saw this like funny meme on the internet or something. Like, that kind of stuff is fun, and it just kind of lightens the mood throughout the day.
you're right.
I know I'll share another funny thing that happened. So culturally, things will come up that are just hilarious. So right now we have Hamada's parents staying with us, and they're Moroccan, and they're English. They're both trying really hard to learn English, but it's not great. So everything's normally in Arabic and everything. But I got this type of yogurt, and it's Icelandic yogurt, and I'm my ancestry is Viking, so I call it my Viking yogurt, and I love it. It's really really good. But on the package, there's one that's like strawberry and lingonberry yogurt, and on the package of it, there's like this little like I don't know if it's like a
Fox.
fox on the the carton, and so then I mean, and we have like almond milk and all these different kinds of like milk alternatives. So then Hamada's mom like sees the fox on there. She's like, is this like a dog milk? Like
And we made
is this
fun
like a
about that.
dog yogurt? And so now we like all of us were laughing, like we were crying, laughing so hard we were crying. It was so funny. And so now like I normally have this like yogurt for breakfast. And so now, like, I'll tell her, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to have my dog yogurt now. Like, we have a good laugh
It's
about
funny.
it. And, like, even this morning, I had a little bit extra left over, and I gave it to our dog, Kiwi. And I was like, oh, here, have your dog yogurt. And so it's, like, silly, but it adds, like, a bit of fun throughout the day that, when you're stressed out with work and everything, it's just, like, that just helps, like, lighten the mood and lift things up. So,
That's true. Yeah, little things sometimes can make a difference.
yeah. So definitely find any kind of way you can add little fun or whimsical moments throughout the day. It can really, really help. And it helps just like create a better tone in the relationship too.
You're right.
So the last tip we're going to talk about is don't schedule everything to the minute. So this is something that I think is sometimes hard, especially if you're like more of a type A personality. You may have like everything super planned out, and you might have everything like everything has to be in its place and in its order. And maybe for you, it may be helpful to start initially scheduling a little bit of time for fun. So like just be like, okay, here's my schedule for the whole day. These 45 minutes, I'm going to do something fun. But like, hopefully you'll get to the point where your day will have a little bit more flow to it. But I do think that like having that level of structure can somehow limit the feeling of wanting to have fun. Like it really does restrict that spontaneity and that kind of whimsy thing that there's just some things just randomly happen. And by having everything so structured, sometimes you don't really get to take full advantage of those
Hmm.
moments.
That's true. Yeah, just go with the flow and just plan it like, oh, maybe in the afternoon we're gonna go to the gym. Then after the gym we're gonna go to a restaurant. Maybe you don't have time for gym. Maybe just not go to the gym. Maybe just go to the restaurant. Or maybe you go to the restaurant first, then the gym. Maybe the restaurant took forever. Maybe they have left people working and and your food didn't come on time. So maybe don't go to the gym. So you just have to be like flexible and just know that nothing you're gonna plan is gonna be perfect. Nothing's gonna plan is gonna be 100%. Maybe yeah, 5% of the, maybe 10% of the time, but 80% of the time is out of your control and it's not gonna be perfect.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to realize like fun is not necessarily a structured activity. Fun is something that it's like it comes from like that heart space of like almost like that inner child. Like I am just going to embrace life as it is in this moment. It's almost like something that happens when you're in that present state. And so if you're always thinking about the future or you're stuck in the past, it's really hard to have fun in the present moment. So it's just really another good reminder and tip to try to be in the moment as it is, not worrying about like, oh, I have to stop this activity because in 5 minutes I have to go flip the laundry or whatever. Like, just
Yeah,
really enjoy that moment, and then when you're done, then go flip the laundry. Like really just savor those moments because that's really those are like the rich moments of life. Like that's what makes life fun and makes life lighter, and that will help lift your energy and then lift your relationship energy as well. So those were our 7 tips. I'll go through a recap of them again. The first tip was to travel and have adventures. Second tip was to try new things together. Third tip was to follow your own passions and then share them together. Fourth tip was do something out of your comfort zone. Number 5, move to a new city. Number 6, find joy and fun moments throughout the day. And number 7, don't schedule everything out to the minute. So, those were our 7 tips, and we hope they are helpful to you. Please connect with us on Instagram at Cross Cultural Couples and let us know if there's a certain topic you want us to talk about, if there's a certain issue you're facing. Please connect with us and let us know, and we love to hear from you guys and help, or share with us some of the fun things you guys are doing. If you found an activity that has been really fun in your relationship, share it with us. We like to hear from you guys and we like to get ideas too.
yes, thank you so much for listening, and make sure you have a great day. Okay,
Yes, thank you guys, and remember to have fun.
bye bye. Thank you.